The Xbox Series X has been out for just over 3 years now, and in that time, it's been an incredible all-in-one system for both gaming and entertainment. And in a world where there are so many other ways you can get your gaming in, from PC to PlayStation 5, handhelds, and even the phone in your pocket, it's easy to wonder where the heck the Series X fits and why you choose it. But it's not like it's a hard choice too, when you can play games like Chivalry 2 on Game Pass, beat off 3 people at once, and take an arrow to the face in 4K. With all of that, you can definitely count me in. For myself though, with so many ways to get my gaming in, I still frequently turn to my Series X, mainly because it's super easy and it really does give me a good gaming experience. And since I do create content online, naturally I'm gonna get absolutely roasted in the comment section. If I say I like PlayStation 5, I'm a fanboy. If I love my Xbox Series X, I'm a fucking idiot. Not to mention all those other folks who simply hate console gamers. Here's the thing. I simply don't care. All I care about is the gaming experience, and the Series X gives me exactly that. So here is another look at the Xbox Series X 3 years down the road from somebody who simply likes to game. Now, I mentioned I really dig a good gaming experience, so it's good to understand what that really even means to me. Well, as somebody who was exclusively a PC gamer from 2010 all the way through 2020, there are a couple things that really make up a good experience for me. A good resolution, a high FPS, and a good selection of games. Spoiler, the Series X ticks all of those boxes. Now you might be wondering, why don't I just keep gaming on my PC, and what does my Series X give me that a gaming computer doesn't already? And honestly, it's not that straightforward of an answer. For me, it does come down to a couple things, like not having the same amount of time as I used to, and simply not wanting to be at my desk after spending almost 9 hours a day in a chair for my day job. Over time as well, my priorities have shifted so drastically where pushing top 100 Warcraft raids or throwing down 12-hour gaming sessions doesn't quite carry the same luster as it used to. With barely any energy at the end of a long day too, sometimes just melting into my couch to game for an hour is quite actually the most I could ask for. The thing is too, despite leaning more casual than I ever have, I actually am still super competitive when it does come to certain games. And typically where I'd clap the cheeks while gaming on PC with my mouse and keyboard, I can still do the same thing on my cozy ass couch with a controller. And even if I do need a bounce from the living room to make way for Bluey or Bridgerton for the missus and kid, easily enough I can still hook this up to my monitor of choice in any sort of gaming desk setup. In terms of what you get for the price though, the Series X really is hard to beat, coming in at about $470 US. Now I don't care to go in depth on technical specs and stuff, mainly since I don't really care personally, but I will throw them up here if you do want to check that out. Now I could be wrong, but I think in a PC to console comparison, this will give you about the same performance as an RTX 2070, and my source is random people on Reddit. If I am wrong, I'm sure a couple or many people will correct me in the comment section. Either way, depending on what you're playing, you can game up to 4K at 120 Hz. Many of the games available on the Series X as well offer both fidelity and performance-based options, which makes this suited for a large range of gamers. For myself, it's gotta be the performance modes, mainly since I prefer higher refresh rates, especially for first-person shooters. The difference here though is that the game will target maintaining the highest refresh rate possible with some graphical compromises on the performance mode, or you can lock in a solid 30 FPS at a crispy 4K in fidelity modes. And sometimes it's a mix of both or somewhere in between. Alongside having a variable refresh rate, this latest gen console really does give me an easy half chub. And this might trigger some people, but 4K is 4K to me. I don't really care if it's upscaled, downscaled, whatever's scaled. Games on a 4K display look absolutely incredible, as they also do on a 1440p or a 1080p display. Wildly enough though, no matter who you are, there's quite actually a crazy amount of games available on Xbox's Netflix-like Game Pass. Adventure, horror, shooter, racing, RPG, there's simply so many options. For myself, Game Pass shines for simply being able to try any game I want without having to dish out $90 in Canada for that single game. Even renting games back in the day from Blockbuster, while a magical experience, it doesn't quite hold up in terms of value. If that game you rented was absolute trash, you were shit out of luck and you simply wasted your money. Not to mention if you were at school during the daytime, some other older dude probably snagged it at 9 in the morning anyways. With Game Pass though, you can just delete it and try another game, and if you don't want to download and install, you can always stream games through the cloud where available. Again, straight up Netflix but for games. And as impressive as all this is with the Series X, the wildest, most impressive feature for me has definitely got to be Quick Resume. Simply being able to pause and swap between my games and being able to pick back up at that same moment is seriously nuts. Even if your console was off and you come back to gaming, you're back at it within under a minute. This won't be as important for a lot of people, but for myself this feature is huge simply by not having to stare at a load screen when I don't really have much time in the first place. Some really standout games I've been enjoying lately on Game Pass have been Chivalry 2, which is like a medieval WWE ring where you can screech and beat someone off with a chair. I've also been enjoying Palworld, which is again practically Pokemon but with guns, and I just started Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I hear is a good play. When it comes down to the controller though, honestly, it's fine. I can't say there's anything wrong with it, but it just does the job. The haptics are decent enough while gaming, although by comparison to PlayStation's DualSense, it is largely stripped down. One thing I can say is because it is a more basic controller experience, the battery life is actually super long. I won't pretend like I don't prefer a rechargeable controller, but I do just use these rechargeable AA's from IKEA and call it a day. Still, in the hand, this controller does feel good. It is grippier than the previous generation since there are these micro dots on both the trigger and the back end. And one thing I absolutely love about this controller is the headset support, since it's practically latency free and sounds great. For anybody who does do competitive gaming too, it's almost a must-have, plus you won't disturb anybody else around you. Not to mention it's super easy just to snag clips while gaming by using the share button. These do become available easily in your Xbox app. Coming down to storage though, depending on who you are, this is either enough or really not that much. Games really are getting massive nowadays, so you sorta gotta rotate your games in and out to install others. For myself, the 1TB hard drive, which is about 825 gigs usable, used to be way more than enough. Since Game Pass though, it is way easier to fill up than I ever imagined. While I used to be a 1 or 2 game type of guy, that's easily changed over the last bit. Either way though, the 825 gigs is definitely manageable enough for me. Expandable storage though, while still expensive, is much cheaper than it was at launch. Now, smart TVs have gotten pretty good over time, not to mention most 4K TVs also have pretty good interfaces. But comparatively, when it comes to media capabilities, the Series X is an absolutely incredible option. Now, I don't have an 8K TV, a home theater sound setup, or any Dolby content to consume, but as somebody who typically doesn't like built-in TV UIs, the Xbox is by far a better option. This console has a damn good UI with access to all the popular apps you might want, and overall it's gotten quite a lot better with updates. The original UI on launch was a bit bland, but I much prefer how it is now. One of the things I like are the massive amounts of apps available, although it is more quantity over quality. There's even a web browser you can get for your scumbag activities in the evening, or just grocery shopping. But it's not just watching shows and movies either. If you are just entertaining or vibing out to music, this does have support for apps like Spotify or Apple Music, all of which are available while gaming as well. Now, I will touch on some of the things I don't like about the Xbox Series X, but there are some key standout features I really do want to talk about. The first of which is the SSD, because it is crazy fast, especially again with that quick resume feature. I really can't stress it enough. For someone like myself with anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour of gaming at the end of a long ass day, the last thing I need to do is spend a quarter of that time at load screens like I used to. Quick resume alone amongst all the other new gen console features is simply the most futuristic for me, and I really do wish I could do this on my PC or PlayStation 5. Separate from all that, I truly do love the design and aesthetic of the system. For myself, not having some sort of crazy over gamery aesthetic is massive. The Series X kind of looks like a piece of home decor versus a standout game console, and I really dig that. The last thing, which is actually something I haven't paid much mind to yet, is that there is a disk drive. Even though I haven't used it yet, I am starting to lean towards wanting to buy all my physical media again, which is a huge plus. With all of this in mind, what don't I like about the Series X? For myself, that's got to be the controller. Even though the battery is super long, compared to Sony's offerings on the PlayStation 5, the controller is sort of bland. There isn't much any sort of standout new gen features from the last generation, so it is a little bit lacking in my opinion. By comparison, the DualSense controller offers adaptive triggers, a touchpad, a built-in speaker, a rechargeable battery, and even a microphone. And sure, Xbox also has a good run of gaming exclusives, but as somebody who has a PS5, PC, and Xbox, I think Microsoft could pump out some better exclusive titles. On launch, I definitely did enjoy playing Starfield, but in truth, it didn't quite hook me like the other Elder Scrolls, and it sort of remains unfinished to this day. So with everything I've mentioned, who is this console for? The first thing that comes to mind is for anybody who does want to hop into the newest generation of gaming consoles, but wants a spec bump over the Xbox Series S. While the little brother to this console is wildly impressive on its own, there's definitely some limitations which leads you to the Xbox Series X. I think it's also for somebody like myself who values gaming on a couch, despite maybe already having a dope-ass PC setup, you might see a huge benefit from the Series X. Gaming itself is nowhere as near powerful as a gaming PC, but again, it is going to be far more relaxing just chilling on a couch. Then there's the gamer fanatic again, like myself, who might have one of everything already and simply wants to enjoy the Series X for all it has to offer. Either way, Microsoft has done an incredible job with this system, and I'm really looking forward to their next iteration, whatever that might be. Now, I can say a gaming PC is definitely still going to be better than an Xbox Series X, obviously, but that gap has closed enough where I do actually find it quite worth it for the price point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, or roast me for liking the Xbox Series X. You take your pick. Appreciate you all watching till the end. Until next time.